Our next speaker is one of India's greatest scientists. He is a great hero of this nation, Padma Shri Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, who will be speaking to us on the reorganization of the Vedic knowledge system. Dr. Vijay Bhatkar, who is one of India's most acclaimed scientists and IT leaders. He is best known as the architect of India's first supercomputer and as the founder, executive director of C-DAC, India's national initiative in supercomputing. He has been honored with Padma Shri and Maharashtra Bhushan awards. His other recognitions include St. Dhyaneshwar World Peace Prize, Lokmanya Tilak Award, H.K. Fiordia and DataQuest Lifetime Achievement Awards, and many, many others. He was a nominee for Petersburg Prize and is a distinguished alumni of the Indian Institute of Technology. Dr. Bhatkar has authored and edited 12 books and 80 research and technical papers. He is currently conducting research in exascale supercomputing, artificial intelligence, brain, mind, and consciousness, and the synthesis of science and spirituality. He is presently the Chancellor of India International Multiversity, the Chairman of ETH Research Lab, Chief Mentor of I2IT, and National President of Vigyan Bharati. Please welcome Padma Shri Dr. Vijay Bhatkar.
On behalf of all of you, I would like to seek the blessings of that ultimate reality. That we are trying to understand, cognate, and also express. And that ultimate reality in this international conference has been called, eulogized as the Vedas, the Ved. So I seek the blessings from that reality, and that reality cannot be comprehended by we mortals, and that reality has been expressed, and we can touch that reality through the great gurus, the tradition of rishis, maharshis, and the gurus. So I think we, as the Swamiji says, if we are to understand that reality, we can touch that reality through the medium of Guru. So I bow before the Guru Tattva, the Veda Vyasa, and also the whole tradition of that Vedantic knowledge which we have received through Adi Shankaracharya, and the tradition of Shankaracharya which continues today, or that Vedantic knowledge. I bow before Maharshi Mahesh Yogi and the contemporary expression of that knowledge which has come to us from him. His Holiness Swami Vasudevananda Saraswati Ji, Shankaracharya of Jyotirmath, who has given his grand blessings to us. Swami Govindadev Giriji Maharaj, who first brought to my notice this conference, this international conference, and very lovingly and invited me here. I must say today for me as a scientist, not a scientist but as a student of science and a profound science, it is a day of great fulfillment for me, because I have been trying to understand as a student of science how can I understand this, the nature of reality, which is a pursuit of science really, but not just physical reality. Not is just physical manifestation. It's physical, it's biological, it's psychological, it's intellectual, it's spiritual, not in just as one form, but its entire form, what you call is Brahma. That has been my goal. I think this international conference, sir, as expressed by Maharaja Adhiraj, Rajaram, Professor Tony Snyder, it's a great illuminating talk I have ever heard. It's illuminating in many ways, and this possible only through the blessing of his great guru, Maharshi Mahesh Yogi. I must also say, while I was listening to Professor Tony Snyder, how can we express this reality in the contemporary language of science and also spirituality? And that has come to us today in that form. John Hagelin, professor whom I had heard in Europe as well, has given us what we call the future of unified field theory, what Einstein dreamt of or talked about and struggled for 3 decades. Can we understand a unified field? But Einstein was still talking about just the physical reality. Understanding from the fundamental particles, the bosons and fermions, and all the fundamental particles and the instruments that they can detect at the cosmic level, the galactic level and the cosmic level, and recent theories about it, and he has beautifully woven this in the current theories of physics. But going beyond that, why in science we are not able to understand how life comes about. I heard a talk by a Nobel Prize nominee, Professor Whiteside from Harvard University, and he was talking in National Chemical Laboratory in Pune, in the place I come from, and he said to me, and he's a great professor of chemistry who has written textbooks, and all of us learn his textbooks in chemistry. And after he said, I taught chemistry for 40 years, but let me confess that what all I taught is wrong, is incomplete, because I don't understand this water molecule, the profoundness of this water molecule which makes life possible. I've been teaching about it, but my knowledge about the water molecule, which is the simplest, one of the simplest molecules in chemistry, I'm unable to understand. So my knowledge is incomplete. And perhaps what I taught is wrong or incomplete. That confession coming from him is very, very important for us. This has happened to many people. This has happened to Einstein. This has happened to many people. After coming to the very boundaries of science, the frontiers of science, suddenly you realize that you do not know anything. Friends, I'm going to share with you today, therefore, my very little knowledge. My ignorance. I'm not going to teach you what I know. I'm going to only share with you my ignorance. I think in Yoga Vasishta, I remembered, Yoga Vasishta, Ram asked the question to his guru, Vasishta. The great Ramayana, I think we talked about your Ramayana. What is knowledge? I want to understand what is knowledge really. And the answer given by Vasishta, Maharshi Vasishta, is knowledge is the process of peeling off ignorance through ignorance. The process of going from one level of ignorance to another level, less level of ignorance. That is knowledge. One level of ignorance. And that's what happened. And that's what happened if we see the journey of science. We have started from flat earth, from the Newtonian mechanics, going to great developments, And I can't really talk about the developments in Newton, Leibniz, Laplace, and all that development of mechanics, profound developments for which the technologies have come, to suddenly Einstein comes and gives a different expression of reality, the spatial theory and the general theory, and goes on to give a totally different way of looking at it. And that great equation E is equal to mc square. And then quantum mechanics takes over. So we are going from one level of ignorance to less level of ignorance. That is knowledge. That is knowledge, I feel. That's how the knowledge has been expressed. And science is tentative. Science is only tentative, and it's a great humility that we must understand that is not important. I think today we are talking about, there are several distinguished luminaries here. My teacher, Professor Subramanian Swami, has just arrived here. We'll talk about how this knowledge can structure and transform the societies, and that is the purpose of any governments. And we have many government people coming here. Many ministers will be arriving tomorrow, and I wanted to really listen to them. The great spiritualists, scientists, thinkers, thought leaders, and social and political leaders here. We are talking here something very important, I feel, extremely important. We are talking about now the transformation of a nation, transformation of a society. We are not talking about, we are talking about transformation of a civilizational transformation. In India, the new government has come, and each government wants to transform the society, the nation itself. And we have formed recently what is called Niti Aayog, Niti, N-I-T-I, National Institute for Transformation of India, Niti Aayog. Now the question is, what transformation? What is the goal? Most of us don't know the goal. I want to transform the nation. I want to have this, I want to have that infrastructure, I want to do this. Of course, there are many, many material, physical, societal goals. But where do you want to go is the issue, most important. What is the goal, distant goal? What do you see the ideal of that goal? I think today we are talking about that ideal goal, what we talk about, that a nation should be lighthouse of peace, progress, and prosperity. Everybody wants that. Peace, progress, and prosperity. And we tried different instruments. And we have tried different instruments to the last century. All our lives, different methods have come. The communism has come. The capitalistic economies have come. The socialistic economies have come. But we do not have peace. We don't have peace. We don't have true prosperity. We don't have true progress. So, I think, today we have to show that light. We are trying to discover that light. What is the instrument? What is that instrument of transformation where we get peace? Not just peace for today, enduring peace. Enduring peace, enduring prosperity. And we have been told, and we are discussing here, there is an instrument. We have been promised, and what we are trying to see, that instrument is Vedas. Ved is the instrument for that transformation. That is what. And until that, because as we know, unless that knowledge, what we are seeking, is complete, we will never reach there. We thought this is the path, but since it is incomplete knowledge, it is always going to be dangerous. And that's why we have been living in today's society, in spite of great progress in science and technology, of which I am also a part of it, that we have created more dangerous society than what we inherited. Today, when I see this, when we talk about Ved is knowledge. Knowledge, not just knowledge, complete knowledge, Purna Jnana, Param Jnana, ultimate knowledge. We are not talking about, I want to learn physics or chemistry or economics or whatever it is. We are talking about Paramaya Jnana, the ultimate knowledge. We are talking about not just part of the knowledge, but complete knowledge. I think that is the thing we are trying to articulate. So, this knowledge has been talked about, and promised, articulated by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, and of course in the Vedas and Upanishads, and also Gita, Bhagavad Gita also is one of the Upanishads. which we all can understand, knowledge directly coming from the divinity itself. He said, now Arjuna, I am going to give in chapter 7, that knowledge tell you, knowing which nothing remains to be known. Nothing remains to be known. And this has been, of course, commented by Saint Dhaneshwar, very beautiful way. That the most profound commentary I ever read. We had brought to us at the age of 16 by great Saint Dhaneshwar, who took Samadhi at the age of 21. But what he talks about it is very simply. What is science? And I think we must, all scientists today, understand. I never seen a simple definition of science than that. Science is the knowledge of this phenomenal world, including our body and all those kind of things. Prapancha, prapanchik gyan, which is made of this prapanch, this pancha mahabhutas. That is science. What is adhyatma or spirituality? Adhyatma, adhyatma, it is knowledge about the atma. The knowledge about the atma, that is knowledge about the self. And understanding that, behaving that kind of thing, that's how our education system behaves. And that's what I learned. That the knowledge of this prapancha, or the phenomenal world, is the complete knowledge, is a gyan. That is ignorance. I think today we are trying to understand this in an integrative manner. And Vedas promise that. Both this knowledge, prapanchik gyan, as well as the knowledge of the very spirit, the Atma itself, which is trying to know. Imagine that you want to know through physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, all those kind of things, engineering, technology, all those kind of things, about everything about the world, but you don't want to ask the question, who am I? Who is asking that question? This is the tragedy of today's knowledge. I never pause for a moment. My education system doesn't pause for, who is trying to know this knowledge? Trying to seek this knowledge? Who am I? I think this is what the Vedas do. Who am I? That is first important. Sorry. Some water. That is what Vedanta or Vedic knowledge comes to us. I have to be brief now. Why is it important? Why is this Vedic civilization where is important? I think we must remember what Albert Toynbee, the greatest historian, the British historian, who has studied all the civilizations of the world. And after studying the civilizations of the world, antiquity of the Vedas and all the civilizations of the world, including, of course, the earliest one, the Vedic ones, then what we are talking about, early civilizations, Sumerian, Babylonian, Mesopotamian, Greek, Egypt, Romans, this side Chinese, Mayan, Incan civilization, all the civilizations, he says, after observing the civilizations of the world, I come to one conclusion, that these civilizations came, rose, and ultimately vanished, waned off. There is only one civilization which still exists, which is still vibrant, which is still living civilization, and that he may refer to the Indian civilization, but I would say this is the Vedic civilizations in further. That is important. Vedic civilization has been there. That's why it's called Sanatan, eternal. And the character of any eternal civilization must be, it's ever new. It can be looked at ever new. It's open architecture computer, like that, open. I can look at it in very different ways. Today, when that exposition of the architecture of the civilization was given to us, that's what I am looking for, is that what is the architecture? How that civilization, how the knowledge relates to fundamental particles. How that relates to biology, understanding of the life and the cell and the DNA and all those kind of things. How that knowledge can be related to the Indian perspective of Pancha Mahabhutas, Pancha Tanmatras, Three Doshas. Can it be? Is there a relation at all? Today we are struggling to find out in Ayurveda. Why? Please express it in today's biology language. In Ayurveda. Today, can you express? I think never before. I'm telling you. I am myself struggling. How do I write Pancha Mahabhutas? How these Pancha Mahabhutas, how they arise from? What do they mean in today's language to the today's scientists, science people? I think what has been exposed, Professor Hagelin, is that there is today, tomorrow, it will be possible to express that Ayurveda in terms of today's scientific knowledge. I think that is the greatest gift I see has come to me from this conference, because I am struggling with this. And unless that is expressed, I will never feel fulfilled, because unless it is expressed in that language of science, or in the process, science will expand its boundaries, which I have never seen before. I think science will expand the boundaries because it cannot express, then science must expand its boundaries. Science cannot talk about mind, science cannot talk about consciousness, then science must expand its boundaries. So this is how, which we are, I think one of the greatest things, accomplishment of this, the knowledge system, which we talk Vedic knowledge system. We talked about it, the 4 Vedas, and we are talking about the Vedas. You have to understand the Vedangas. Vedangas are great science. I think Vedangas are great science itself. Whether you should talk of Chanda, I was talking to the Swamiji, Swami Amritsar Swarupanandaji. That's Vedanga is what if you talk. The first binary representation. First binary representation come from Pingal Rishi. Like we said, the Rasva and Dirgha and all that. And first time the relation between mathematics and language comes in. Pingala and Panini, that relation comes in, what we are struggling with the computer science. So, Vedangas. Then we are talking Upavedas. And then we are talking different darshanas. And Sankhya Darshan, I must specifically mention with the chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. I recently been talking to a great guru, one Srinivasan, which is a marine engineer. I don't know, he has a blessing from his guru, and he had completely out-of-body experiences, and he came out with a theory that perhaps the 68 sutras of Sankhya, the sutras of Sankhya, which he translated, which is available to anybody in the web now. Look at his interpretations. He said entire construction of the universe, how the universe comes about, has been explained in 68 sutras of Sankhya. I think I will invite. I'm not trying to understand. I'm going to get yes. I try to say that first time I'm coming that I don't understand his interpretation, but I must go to him and sit at his feet like Upanishad thing. He's an engineer himself, but now he's a guru, then the seer, and he will explain to me. But the way he has explained, mathematically, fully axiomatically, by axioms alone, I can construct the whole universe. And that's what I think you try to say. It's all there here. I have done some experiment. I will just be very brief now. There's some experiment, Pindite Brahmandi. Pindi Brahmandi is very simple. I said, ask my question. Can I prove it through science? Can I prove it through computers? Which mimic almost, I think what to say, the whole reality is made in the image of man. Suppose if you say that, humans are made in the image of man, humans. So can I understand through computers? And I asked that question. And I will just prove it in just few minutes to you. The Pinditu Brahmani, simple experiment you do. Suppose I want to recognize a simple letter called A or A or any letter you take, Om, whatever it is. How the computer recognizes that word, that letter. And then, of course, the words. I just scan that. I scan the image, the graphical image. And then I have written a software. I have written a software of all the vowels and syllables and the complex letters which come from. I write the entire software. And I have to identify amongst those letters, the set of letters, this is O, this is A, this is A. That means the entire knowledge of that set has to be put in the computer first before I can recognize what is A. What it simply means that if you are able to cognate the world, the entire Brahmanda, what you are talking about, the realities has to be within me. Otherwise, I cannot even see you. I cannot shake hand with you unless you are within me. I think we can extend it, this thing. We can mathematically explain it. We can understand to computer science this thing. Many things. Pindite Brahmandi. The law of karma. Physics, the fundamental assumption is the causality, which neither I can prove nor I can disprove. There are something like that. Neither I can prove whether causality is the truth or not, but neither I can disprove. That there will be many things come like Gödel's theorem. There are many things come, the Turing architecture, many things which come before it. Karma, another cornerstone of Vedic theory is the Punarjanma. Punarjanma, there is another cornerstone. Can it be proved? No, we cannot. But I said, can we create reincarnating machines? Can I create reincarnating computers? And I can say that we are doing that. I can reincarnate my computers. I have got, suppose, a smartphone, which is a computer, and I throw and I break it, I can see to it that the entire software of that, the Sukshma Sharir of that, what you call it, can be reincarnated on any other defined or designated computer somewhere else. Now, this can be done in the reality like this kind of thing. I break a computer like this here, and that computer reappears in a different form, at least the Sukshma aspect on another thing, which can, of course, be done in biological, and tomorrow's computers are biological, and it will go to more and more Sukshma levels, and this can be done. So there are many possibilities which we are confronted with, the Vedic theories, which will prove. They are fundamentally, I am not saying that they need to be proved. I think we only have to remove our ignorance or saying limitations to understand those theories. So today, I think by understanding that reality, we can create a different, enduring peace on this one, because it's not possible. Finally, I will end that what the President of the Royal Society, Sir Martin Rees, said, that 21st century will be the last century for the humanity. 21st century will be the last century for humanity, because the way up we have, one is the climatic change, another the weapons of mass destruction that we have created, and the terrorism which is before us. Unless we are able to transform all these things, and this is come from because of half knowledge. Pakistan is different from me. Croatia is different from this one. US wants to compete with Russia. Unless we see that we are, after all connected, this is never going to work. And Vedas have given that whole perspective of that connectedness. And we talked about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. But not only that, going further in the Aham Brahmasmi, that reality, you are going to conquer or you are going to destroy somebody else, means you are going to destroy yourself. I think that Vedic view alone can give enduring peace and prosperity, and that is, I think, the purpose of this conference. What is that thing? But prove so Professor has given the architecture of that. I would like to study that architecture and keep it before that. Finally, our education, our agriculture, where everything has to be transformed. I think at fundamental level. Otherwise, what we are trying, it will some progress will achieve, and again we'll come to the dead end. That foundation is Vedas. I think that's what we are going to prove. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you very much.